Good afternoon to the delegates present out here, chairperson of the session and my fellow panelists on the dais. And I would like to thank Department of IT Bihar and ELETS for inviting us in eBihar and giving us, the topic which is a buzzword in today's scenario, which is Digital India Innovations in eGovernance. And secondly, the reason I'll be very frank of coming out here was that I see Bihar as one of the most potential states because the technology which we are into is something which is revolutionary in the sense that today's our success is based only on the government customers. So it is a perfect platform, and I strongly believe that anybody who listens to our value proposition for 10 minutes is completely sold on the technology which we are into. And so when we talk about the vision of Digital India, it is centered on three key areas. One is the digital infrastructure as a utility to every citizen, governance and services on demand, digital empowerment of citizens. So when we talk about any IT or e-governance initiatives, it comprises of hardware application level, middleware and the database, plus a system integration, consultants who are involved in making that project a success. And I strongly believe that when we talk about Digital India, it is taking the citizen-centric services to the remotest of the areas, and as it is written here, mentioned here, governance and services on the demand. So I think practically this objective cannot be met if we don't identify, define what are the needs for any e-governance initiatives, what are the bare minimum needs, so that we don't go for anything extra which is not needed for that particular project. And the technology has to be cost effective because it is a taxpayer's money. I mean, for example, going for a proprietary hardware or proprietary database and buying licenses on a distributed architecture where connectivity is at the taluka level means hundreds of crores of revenue even only on the database side, which is a taxpayer's money. So Enterprise DB is basically into PostgreSQL based products and solutions. When we talk about PostgreSQL, it is a 25-year-old proven open source database which has got enterprise class features built in that. And when I talk about true open source database, it is because the source code is not owned by anybody. Today people still confuse that by saying that MySQL is an open source database, but it is not, because source code is owned by Oracle. So Enterprise DB is basically what Enterprise DB has done is what Red Hat has done on Linux. So we have taken PostgreSQL community version, because we employ, one of the most interesting aspect of our organization is that we have employed 60% of the people who invented this database. So we have the community leaders who had invented this community version of PostgreSQL employed by Enterprise database. So what we have done is that on the community version of PostgreSQL, we have identified what are the most used features of any commercial database, and we have built in those features on the community version of the database. So today, if for example a commercial tax secretary in a particular state wants to roll out a commercial taxation framework, if he goes to Oracle, he will say that I don't need 100 features in your enterprise edition, I need just 10 of those features. But he has no other option because Oracle is not flexible, or any commercial database is not flexible. He will say, if you want to buy enterprise edition, it comes with 100 features. So at the end of it, what is happening is that any particular customer is paying for 90 features which are in a particular product which he does not need. He needs only 10 features. So because we have community leaders employed by our organization, what we do is we work very closely with the community and we identify every year what are the most used features of commercial database being used across the globe. We shortlist those features and we built in over and above the community version of the PostgreSQL, so that customer pays what he wants. If he wants active replication, if he wants automatic failover management on a database, we built only those 10 features which are used in any commercial database across the globe. Secondly, many times I have been asked the question by the customer that why is your product so competitive? So it is competitive not only because it is an open source, it is competitive because as we are employing 60% of the people who invented this database, the community across the globe is working, is still reporting to them. So they are working for us, but the community, PostgreSQL community is reporting to them. So the developmental efforts of our organization is augmented by the development efforts of millions of the community developers who are working across the globe. So our development cost is very, very less as compared to any commercial database company where they will have to pay fat packages to the developers to incorporate any features which a customer wants in their database. So as I said that most mature open source RDBMS technology, enterprise class features, strong independent community driving. So when we are having a technology which a customer or the government of India can take to the rooks and corners of the country because it is affordable technology and it is an open database. When I say an open database, I have seen customers coming to us after 4 and 5 years when the situation is aggravated to such a big extent. I mean, I've got requests from customers whose complete application is on the verge of, you can say, crashing because there is a particular vendor who has recommended a hardware, a middleware and a database which is proprietary to that vendor. And tomorrow if a customer says that I want to change your database to another database, he will say no. It will not work with my middleware because he has built threads to interface only with his own proprietary technology. But still we have been successful at many places. Even after customer has come to us after 4 or 5 years, we have been able to change him from a proprietary technology to an open source technology. So when we talk about many customers have got some kind of apprehension and perceptions at times that open source cannot handle terabytes of data, cannot handle multiple user concurrency and all that. So we have that kind of expertise. In fact, I would like to inform that Salesforce has gone from Oracle to Heroku Postgres, which is one of the version of the Postgres, because they were earlier having their, you can say Salesforce was using Oracle as a backend database, but when they were going to the customer, the pricing for the Oracle database was twice the price for say Siebel framework. So I would like to come straight away to the point that today if you talk about Enterprise DB, the projects where we are associated with, and I think I have many people from NIC, DIT who are here, and let me bring to the attention of all the people here that 70% of the projects at NIC are being supported by us. So we are the biggest database vendor at National Informatics Center, not in value but in the size of, I would say, volumes. And we have a subscription model. When I talk about a subscription model, the license cost is 0. So we say that you pay us for using the software program, updates, software maintenance services and software support. So we don't say that, and we don't have a retrospective kind of penalty. So if you don't take support from us for 1 year, and after 1 year you want to go again for Postgres plus subscription, Enterprise DB subscriptions, then we don't say that you have to pay 110% of the penalty because you have been not taking our support for the last 1 year. Another point which I would like to mention here is that the projects which we are doing for NIC. So I would like to bring not only NIC but to the government of India is that ePraman is a centralized authentication framework which has been which the government has decided to take help of Enterprise DB. So we were competing against major commercial database vendors, but that is a CDAC framework which will be on a centralized architecture where for accessing any citizen-centric services, customer should not go for different application frameworks. He can straight away access this application and go to the PDS or to the transport site wherever he wants to access. That is one very important framework where we have been shortlisted for, and it is based on a centralized architecture. Second is the transport department, where you had earlier RTO, which had the servers where processing was happening. Then it was going to the state registrars, which were in the state capitals of every state. Then it was going to the national registrar. So there was a lot of problem which was coming to the government of India in terms of the money, because at the RTO, just to handle 1,000 users every day, they were paying heavy licensing cost to proprietary technologies. So it was around, the expenditure estimated was close to around 70 to 80 crores, which was happening. And then there was problem of integration coming. So under Digital India, it was decided by DIT that they have to shift to a single database technology, and that is where PostgreSQL was shortlisted for that. So now the complete architecture is changing. So it will be a web-based application where the backend will be Enterprise DB, and I would like to inform that, to start this project, they have hired 2 consultants from us who will be suggesting to the government of India what is the application architecture which should be there, should be the hardware they should go for. Everything DIT will decide in consultation with us. So that is the confidence level which we have with the government of India. Then you talk about the EPDS application. EPDS application is also in due course of time going to move to the centralized architecture, which I am quite optimistic it will still again be shortlisted on Postgres, on Enterprise DB database, because of the cost saving. But still, even on a distributed architecture right now, 80% of the states who are running the RCMS and PDS application are on Enterprise DB support. And one more thing I would like to mention here is that Enterprise DB is now into the leaders quadrant, in Gartner's quadrant for the relational database management system. So we are in parallel with, at par with Oracle, Microsoft, SAP, IBM on the database management system. So this is the only open source company which is now into the leaders quadrant for database management system. So as I said, so we have got 2 kind of subscription. So another good point of our technology is that we don't have hundreds of products. We don't have products in bits and pieces. We don't have too many add-ons. We have got just 2 products which a customer has to go. One is the Postgres Plus Standard Edition and Postgres Plus Enterprise Edition. Why we have named like this is because there are standard edition of commercial databases, so we want to compare that Postgres Plus Standard Edition is equivalent to, say, Oracle Standard Edition or whatever, and Postgres Plus Enterprise Edition is equivalent to the enterprise version of any commercial database. And we have got multi-master replication, enterprise failover management built into the Enterprise Edition, and we have got multi-master replication and enterprise failover manager as an add-on into the Standard Edition, because sometimes customer says that I want to use a technology which is truly open source. So there we suggest a Postgres Plus Standard Edition, because the software running here is PostgreSQL community version. So another thing which I would like to bring to the attention of the people here is that our technology is open in the true sense. So if you want to migrate, replicate or connect to any commercial database technology which you are still currently running in your organization, our database will work perfectly fine with that, because many customers say that I am running 100 instances of database on, say, X commercial database, but next 10 I don't want to replace all 100, but next 10 the scaling out of the application for the next 10, can your database work with that? Yes, it works. So that is the beauty of this technology. We can migrate, replicate and connect to any commercial database. And the other thing, the second problem which generally comes when a customer wants to go for a change is the de-skilling of the people which are currently working on a particular technology and then reskilling them on a new technology. Our product has got Oracle compatibility built in at the database engine level. That means any database administrator or developer who is working on Oracle will feel that he is working on the same, because the language support, the language which is used in Oracle is the same language which is used in Postgres plus database. So many of the customers have, seen and used our database, and they have analyzed that they don't need to deskill and again reskill their people. So with this, I would like to end up this session, and these are the applications which we are currently supporting. So if you see Sarthi and Vahan application, the state registrars and the national registrars are running on Postgres Plus. Now everything will be running on Postgres Plus. Maharashtra Land Records, Police, when you talk about SIPA, now CCTNS, Public Distribution System, TN Health, which is the Asia's largest hospital management information system, where at times the concurrency level is 1 lakh users. Cotis application, which is against NIC application. Arogya, so CDAC HMIS is certified on Postgres Plus. So wherever CDAC application is going for hospital management information system, mandatorily the particular state government has to go for our database. So if you talk about today, Maharashtra is going for a major HMIS revamping for their state funded hospitals. There they are going for our database. State of Rajasthan has shortlisted our database because they are going for CDAC. Then you talk about Andhra, Odisha, Telangana, they all are running on our database. E-District is there. So these are few of the projects which we are supporting. And so we are ready. So another strength of ours is that we are quite flexible. So if any customer wants to go for to do a POC, I got a request from the government of Odisha to migrate one of their e-Betan application. We did that remotely in 5 minutes, and the person who did is here. In fact, we got a complimentary letter also from the IT secretary from Odisha, Mr. Padi. But ultimately it could not, we could not take it to the next level, but these are the things where, we are associated. Yeah. So this is all I have to say, and thank you so much.